Hi there, Will Hargrove, Corney and Barrow, Friday afternoon, and this afternoon we're talking about when you know whether a wine is ready to drink. So, there's a few things, and I think, firstly, the golden rule with all of this is, if you open a bottle of wine, you try it and you like it, it's ready to drink. Okay, so that's the important thing. People often have a fear, particularly us Brits, about aging wines, and wines have to be aged, and this is totally understandable, but it's not something that I think it's something people overly obsess about. Fundamentally, if you're talking about, let's talk about white wine and red wine. If you're talking about white wine, you're talking about acidity and that sort of overly crisp puckering. You feel it here in your mouth, and it's about letting that mellow. A lot of white wines actually are best decanted. In fact, at home, I decant more white wine than red wine. And when I say decanting, it doesn't mean you have to have frilly this, that, and the other. It's a matter of just getting some air into it. So clumsily pouring it into a jug and back into the bottle, or just serving it from the jug, absolutely fine. Just get some air into it, and it just loosens the wine up. That's all you're really talking about. There are wines, and white wines that age will often be beautiful when they're young, and German and top white Burgundies will age for 5, 10, 20 years at times. That's absolutely fine. Let them age. But fundamentally, if you try a wine and you enjoy it, and you're happy with the price you paid for it, then just crack on and drink it in terms of the whites. On the reds, I have a slightly different attitude. I think one of the great joys of wine and getting to love wine is following a wine over its sort of maturation, over its time. And one of the things I think people miss out on, particularly as I say, that us Brits who are quite sort of traditional with these things, is actually not being scared of trying wine when it's young, and which is interesting because we'll come on to something young in a minute. But it's about just try it and see what you think. I think the wines of the left bank wines of Bordeaux, which are blends and have Cabernet, etc., are tougher, and often it's worth giving them, try them at a tasting or something, but give them 4, 5, 6 years before you try a wine. What I would often say with wines made from one grape variety, and I'm thinking of things I love, like sort of Nebbiolo from Barolo, but also Pinot Noir in Burgundy, or several of the Grenache in the southern Rhone, etc. These wines, one of the reasons they age well and they're lovely when they're older is that, frankly, the grapes they were made from are delicious, and it's good juice. So actually, it's a real waste not to try a bottle or two. You might find it hard not to try more than that when they're young. So crack on and try these wines and see what you think. It's always better to have a wine 10 years too early rather than 5 minutes too late, because once a wine's gone, it's gone. And that takes a long time, and good storage will negate that worry, really. But don't be afraid to try wines. And in red wine, all you're really worried about is tannin, which just dries the mouth and feels overly grippy. You'll notice it less with food. But try, open reds, serve them a little bit cooler, open them and see what you think. And if you try it and it's, a Friday, whatever night, just leave it. If you think, oh, it's a bit tough, see what happens when you try it the next day. And I love going home and opening lots of things on a Friday night and drinking them over the course of the weekend, and you see how they develop, particularly with young wines. Don't be worried about 2 or 3 days of things being open. So there we go. So I think it's a matter of experimenting. I think there's a lot of preconceptions that you have to age. The more you spend on a wine, the longer you should age it. Not necessarily true. If you try something and it tastes delicious, as with food, then eat it, drink it. Which brings us nicely on to something that people might think traditionally you would keep, and you can. But 2015 is a cracking vintage across a lot of Europe, very hot in places, but very, very good. The Rhone had an absolutely splendid time, and the Rhone is really 2 wine regions rolled into one, the north and the south. This is Crozon-Hermitage from Guillaume Bell from 2015. Northern Rhone, so we're 100% Syrah. Sees very little new oak, which is a good thing. And it's just delicious. And because it's 2015 and what went into it is ripe grapes, you can drink it now. Just as you can drink Tage de Rhone, Côte de Rhone, that we also do 15, and that's already absolutely hitting its straps. So just crack on and try these wines when they're young. Syrah is a wine people think is big and bold, and yes it is, but if you have this with shepherd's pie, or something hearty as the weather sort of turns and the nights get a bit darker, absolutely delicious. So there we go. Don't be afraid to open bottles and drink them.